The Bissell PowerGlide Pet Slim sits in the mid-range cordless vacuum category, the same territory as the Dyson V8, the Shark IZ series, and other established vacuums with years of proven performance behind them. At that price point, the bar is higher. You should expect strong cleaning, reliable filtration, and hardware built to last more than a couple of years. The surface cleaning test results are actually good. Hard floor pickup came in at 99.9%. Carpet was 99.8%. For surface debris, this vacuum performs. But there's a problem that's hard to overlook at this price level. The filtration failed in my fog test, badly. Heavy leaks from multiple points on the vacuum body, which means pet dander, dust, and allergens are escaping back into your room while you clean. At this price, that's not a trade-off. That's a product failure that competitors in the same category don't have. I'll show you what exactly I mean. My name is Garrick D. I've been testing cordless vacuums since 2017, and in this video, I'll walk you through every test results, the good and the bad, so you can decide whether the PowerGlide Pet Slim is worth your money or if there's a better option. Starting with the basics. The PowerGlide Pet Slim is a cordless stick with two power settings, low and high. It converts to a handheld by removing the wand, which gives you above the floor reach. The dustbin doesn't have a quick release latch. It's a three-step process when emptying. Detach the dustbin assembly from the frame, pull out the filter assembly, then dump the contents into the trash bin. The nozzle, and I'll point this out on screen, is bulkier than the Slim name suggests. Getting into tight spaces between furniture legs is awkward. The Slim refers more to the wand profile than a cleaning head. Now there's the part that matters for long-term ownership. The battery is not removable. It's built in. When it degrades, and all lithium-ion batteries degrade, you can't swap it out. You either buy a new vacuum or look for a third-party repair, which is hit or miss on budget models like this. That's a fundamental limitation on a cheap vacuum that I want to be upfront about before we get to the cleaning performance. These vacuums aren't built to last 5 years. Before I get into the test numbers, here's the quick summary. Surface pickup is above average. Hard floors and carpet both came in near perfect. I'll show you the exact numbers in a minute. Hair pickup on hard floors is excellent, with consistent 100% scores in several tests. The dustbin is easy to empty, but the noise output was higher than I expected, especially for a vacuum that doesn't generate a lot of airflow. The nozzle is bulky. Navigating around furniture is more work than it should be for a vacuum called Slim. Steering isn't quite as nimble as a Dyson, but that's pretty common with larger, bulkier floor heads. One thing I do like is the handle placement. Since it's positioned above the motor, it feels more balanced in your hand and puts less strain on your wrist when using it as a stick vacuum. The downside is the overall size. The frame is pretty bulky, and some of the attachments can feel a bit awkward when you're maneuvering around furniture or cleaning tight spaces. As for the handheld pet tool, those stiff bristles are fantastic at pulling embedded dirt off couches, mattresses, and other upholstery. It almost acts as a scalper, lifting hair that softer bristles often leave behind. However, it does have one major limitation. The opening behind the brush is fairly narrow, so while it loosens and collects hair really well, larger clumps can get stuck instead of being pulled in all the way into the dustbin. In other words, it's great at removing hair from fabric, but not always as effective at transporting the hair through the vacuum itself. The fog test, and I'll show you the footage, this vacuum leaked heavily. At its price point, that's not acceptable. Vacuums in this price range from other brands don't leak as badly and have better seals. The battery isn't detachable. When it degrades, you're buying a new vacuum. The runtime on high is only about 17 minutes. That's a short window for a mid-price vacuum. And the deep cleaning score of 82.5% puts it behind the Teneco A11 on the same test, which costs the same or less. I start every review with airflow because it explains everything downstream. Cleaning performance, deep cleaning, crevice pickup, all of it. The PowerGlide Pet Slim measured 22.58 CFM on low and 29.64 CFM on high at the nozzle. To put that in context, the Dyson V8 is around 37 CFM. The V15 is over 70 CFM. The PowerGlide Pet Slim on high barely clears that. That number under 30 CFM is why some of the results you're about to see look the way they do. Low airflow has consequences. Hard floor surface cleaning, 99.9% overall. Quaker Oats, coffee grounds, quinoa, pet litter all came in at 99.8% or better. That's a strong result. The brush roll and airflow are well matched for picking up surface level debris on hard floors. Edge cleaning surprised me. Despite the low airflow, it picked up coffee grounds efficiently along the baseboard in just a few passes. I expected it to struggle more here, but it didn't. This is where the low airflow shows up directly. I scattered quinoa in a 1/4-inch crevice, a gap you'd find between floorboards or at a tile transition, and ran a vacuum over it. The result, a small percentage was picked up. The rest stayed in the gap. At under 30 CFM, this vacuum doesn't generate enough concentrated suction to pull debris up out from a narrow crevice. If you have gaps in your flooring that collect debris, this vacuum will leave it there. Hair pickup on hard floors is one of the highlights. 5, 7, and 9-inch strands all came in at 100%. The 11-inch strand has dropped to 81.3%, a slight inconsistency, but 12 inches came back to 97%. Overall, very good performance on hard floors, despite a dip with the 11-inch test, partly because I scattered a large amount of hair. Surface carpet pickup is excellent. Low pile carpet, Quaker Oats 98.6, coffee grounds 99.8, quinoa and pet litter both at 100%. Mid-pile, perfect scores across all 4 materials. For everyday surface pet hair and debris on carpet, this vacuum performs well. Carpet hair wrap is less consistent. 5 and 7-inch strands scored 100%. 9 inches dropped to 85%. 11 inches came back to 100%. Then 12 inches fell to 43%. 43% on 12-inch strands is a real limitation. On carpet, longer hair wraps around the brush roll. If you have long hair yourself or a long-haired dog or cat, expect to stop and clean the brush roll regularly during each session. Deep cleaning score 82.5%. This test embeds 100 grams of sand into mid-pile carpet and measures how much the vacuum extracts. 82.5% means nearly 15 grams of sand was left embedded. The Dyson V15 for reference scores 100% on this test. The AirRam scores 91.45%. The PowerGlide Pet Slim's result is directly tied to that 29.64 CFM airflow ceiling. You need more airflow to pull embedded debris out of carpet fibers. It can't generate it. For light embedded debris, a quick pass between deep cleans, 82.5% is fine. For heavily soiled carpet and a multi-pet home where embedded dander and litter accumulate, it's not enough. I use a sound meter to test noise. The result? 73.8 decibels on low, 80 decibels on high. On low, the noise level is about what you'd hear during a normal conversation. High mode is noticeably louder, and considering the relatively modest airflow increase, I was expecting it to be a bit quieter. This is the test result I want you to pay close attention to. The fog test works like this. I fill the vacuum's air path with theatrical fog and watch for any smoke escaping through the body. A vacuum with proper filtration and a sealed housing should only exhaust air through the filter. No fog should escape anywhere else. The PowerGlide Pet Slim leaked heavily. You can see in the footage fog escaping from multiple points on the vacuum body. This isn't a minor seal gap, it's a clear consistent failure. What that means in practice, every time you use this vacuum, fine particles, pet dander, dust, pollen, allergens that the brush roll picks up are partially escaping back into your room through those body leaks. If you or anyone in your household has allergies, asthma, or respiratory issues, this vacuum is actively making your air quality worse while cleaning. The filter installed doesn't matter when the housing around it leaks like this. At this price point, this isn't acceptable. The engineering to seal a vacuum housing properly isn't exotic technology. It's a cost and manufacturing decision. Cheaper vacuums I've tested, like the Tineco A11, handle this better. There's no excuse for it at mid-range money. So is the Bissell PowerGlide Pet Slim worth it at mid-range pricing? Based on the data, no. The surface cleaning is real, and if that were the whole story, I'd have a different answer. But at this price point, you're not just buying a brush roll. You're buying filtration, runtime, deep cleaning capability, and hardware that should last. On those measures, it doesn't justify the price. Fixed battery, 17 minutes of high power runtime, an 82.5 deep cleaning score, and filtration leaks I'd expect from a budget vacuum. What makes it harder to recommend is that there are cheaper alternatives that do more. The Tineco A11 I tested a few years back costs less and outperforms this on both airflow and filtration. That's the problem here. The PowerGlide Pet Slim is priced like a step up, but the data doesn't back that up. If you already own this vacuum and mostly clean hard floors with short pet hair, you'll get decent result on surfaces. But if you're shopping right now, the data points elsewhere. Thanks for watching. If this was useful, subscribe. I test every vacuum myself and post full data on each one.